So you got to remember when I was writing America's Liberation Education, I'm imagining the most idealistic freedom school and education school that I could come up with. Because when you have that ideal, then you have that vision that you can go towards. Okay, so it's not saying this is exactly how it has to be, but this is the dream. You know, the Sugata Mitra has the school in a cloud, and the idea is that it's in dream world, it's in the cloudlands, right? So I'm writing this, and then I had to go to this orientation. So I'm writing these really, anti-educational fucking thoughts, and then I'm looking at the fucking dictator right in its fucking face. And really, I pointed out some little petty thing, but my point was when they kind of make you do that little petty thing, that's when they nab you, that's when they get you, and that's when they start to be able to manipulate you and control you. And I guess they kind of took this to mean something else. They kind of made it, they expanded it, right? They made it bigger. So fuck them. But I'm gonna keep on going. Okay. So America's Liberation Education #6. I got an A in this class. And I was writing this for Elizabeth Dodd Robbers. So they're a bunch of robbers. That's all they know how to do is thieving. They have no moral core. They have no, they're not good fucking people. So basically, they're unleashing a Pandora's box of evil and wickedness upon the world, teaching everybody to be a bunch of power hungry, controlling, manipulating fucking Nazis just like them. And since they're a bunch of fucking, order takers who have no souls and moral convictions, once they are order takers and that morality is ripped out from them, once their heart has been ripped out, then they're expected to be, just a boring fascist. Fascism is the norm, right? So I'm sitting in this orientation class, and Kentucky law is making strides to prevent one teacher from dominating another teacher with the co-teaching model. And this is a great thing, but it was bullshit. They should never have fucking told me about this. This orientation just fucked me up. All it did was oppress the shit out of me, and then it set me up to have higher expectations for this student-teacher relationship that did not fucking work out. If they would have said, hey, she's going to be a fucking Nazi, just do what she says, that would have been better. But they said no. Kentucky law says now we have to be co-teachers. We have to treat each other's as equals. You can't have one person dominating over the others. So you have to be following some form of co-teaching model. Julie Chancellor, she didn't know what the fuck equality is. She's never treated anybody equal in her life. She has been an oppressive fucking piece of shit her entire life. Okay, so keep going. So education should be for liberation, not oppression. On every level of the American education system, the students are required to submit themselves to their teachers by sitting down quietly, following orders as the Nazi soldiers were brainwashed to do to lose our humanity. They want us to keep on marching even though all is falling to pieces, just like Rudolf Eichstein had said. The oppressor prances around all proud, undeserved arrogance, smugness, as if their oppressive tactics aren't harmful to the child's overall development. They're manipulating them. They're always going to be manipulated. And there's even if you pretend to give them a little bit of freedom, but really it was just so you could manipulate them, you taught them to be manipulated all their lives by people who at least smile. Hey, well, he smiled at me, right? That politician smiled and shook my hand. I'm sure he's not just getting power to make money from the oil reserves underneath our county's land. Classrooms are supposed to be safe and positive spaces for learning, but who can be safe and positive when an oppressive predator is roaming around without any accountability? They are predators. Spalding University are sexual predators. Terry Schoon had sexually harassed me. She molested me. She rubbed up and down my leg. No, that was not wanted. No, that was not necessary. No, I did not want that. But it was after I had submitted to taking her orders. Do this, click on that, click on that. Okay, does that turn you on? Treat me like a little fucking slave, like a little fucking dog. Sit down, roll over, do as I say. Here's a fucking nugget. I'm all powerful. Ha ha ha. God, I feel so turned on because I can fucking treat, a 32-year-old fucking grown man like an asshole. Evidently, it turned her on. She fucking rubbed up on my fucking leg. And because I knew these fascist assholes expect 100% compliance, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Had she went and grabbed my fucking dick, okay, I could say something about that, but she's rubbing on my leg. Did she mean it? Did she not mean it? There's a gray area there. And, I guess I didn't want that whole uncomfortable I guess I should have just fucking said it. But it made her feel awkward, and would I have got fucked over? I mean, I got fucked over because I went to talk about the 1855 Know Nothing riots. That's why these assholes stole $50,000 away from me. So if talking about the 1855 Know Nothing riots can get you, fucking kicked out of fucking school, then, that's how big they want 100% compliance. So do as they fucking order you to do, no matter what. You want to talk about the 1855 Know Nothing riots because you think it's important? Get the fuck out of here. She does it. It's her classroom. You gotta do it. She fucking says. What? It's on the AP U.S. History exam. Who gives a shit? She doesn't care about the state's curriculum or national curriculum. She's got her own curriculum standards. And her own curriculum standards is that she's the rock star god. She's the master. She's the fucking queen. And everybody else is her subjects who's under fucking neath her and must obey and kiss her fucking ass. So such pessimists, and so they have oppressor molesters at Spalding University. That is no lie, and that is they are incubators for pedophilia. That is no lie too. They are opening a Pandora's box of wickedness because there is no moral core. They do not act upon their principles or integrity or what is right and what is good and wrong. They don't even ask these questions. These questions of ethics and morality aren't even fucking asked. And if it was asked, they wouldn't even want to hear your answer anyways. So there's some pessimists such as Thomas Hobbes. He believes that human nature is a war against war, everybody against everybody. Basically, it's solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. That's what Thomas Hobbes believed. It's a war of every man against every person, and since we're always having to fight each other, we have these more miserable conditions that we have to live in. Our caveman days, our Paleo-Indian days, we have solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, short lives. That's what Thomas Hobbes believes about our human nature. We're evil. Inherently, human beings are evil. Whereas Jean-Jacques Rousseau thought the exact opposite. Jean-Jacques Rousseau believed that humans are inherently good. And in order to educate a human being, you have to protect that goodness away from the evils of society. Jean-Jacques Rousseau specifically writes to the mothers of the world. And he says, you need to protect your babies from all these fucking vicious, fucking manipulating, exploitative, vampirish fucking psychopaths out here. You need to make your kids strong. And you need to protect that goodness which they were first endowed with by God the Creator, right? Everything God made was good, but then it is man who destroys. So, Jean-Jacques Rousseau believes human beings are born inherently good and they're corrupted by the external pressures of society. Man is born free and everywhere he is in chains. Those who think themselves the masters of others are indeed greater slaves than they. Rousseau, 1762. And that's true. The oppressor is tied to the oppressed. The oppressor, the king, they have to have a subject to rule over. Without a subject, they don't understand life. Right? Unfortunately, you have to make someone else do your work, right? You always have to keep on them, and you always got to maintain that mean, pissed off persona, right? Of always like, you'll never gain my satisfaction or my favor unless you always do as I tell you what to do. God damn it. So begins the social contract. Man is born free and everywhere he is in chains. Those who think themselves the masters of others are indeed greater slaves than they. So that's Rousseau's most important political work was the social contract. Jean-Jacques Rousseau believes in the noble savage, right? So again, it's saying the same thing, the caveman, the Paleo-Indian. This is where mankind is inherently good, then the institutions turn him vindictive and evil. So the institutions, society, that's other people, that's your neighbors, that's schools, parents, workplaces, communities, really anywhere, right? So Jean-Jacques Rousseau links freedom with moral significance. Our actions can only be moral if those actions were done freely. And giving up our freedom, we give up our morality and our humanity. So when you just follow orders, you did not consider if that order was a good thing or not a good thing. You just said that person is, I guess you're following the person, you thinking that they're good, but if they're good, they wouldn't be ordering you around. But then you say, well, they're good, so I'm doing what a good person's telling me to do, so therefore it must be good. Now, you didn't think about any of that stuff, and that's what I see, is that the biggest difference between me and every professor at Spalding University was I had an actual moral core. Everything that I did, first rule is to do no harm to anybody. That's Jean-Jacques Rousseau, too. Do no harm to anybody. They don't believe that. They go in and harm these fucking kids every day. Julie Chancer, you must yell at the kids. You must yell at them. That is a rule. How dare you come in here and say that you're going to have trouble yelling at the kids? That's like teaching 101. So Julie Chancellor at Valley High, you must yell at the kids. That's her fucking, and since she believes it, she's also a white supremacist. She didn't want me to talk about the 1855 Know-Nothing riots because that would have destroyed whiteness, and it would have got white kids to think about their roots, and that would have destroyed racism. She didn't want me to talk about that. She thought the British had, or the Indians and the black folks fought for George Washington when they actually fought for the British. So she don't even understand the revolution is the very beginning of this country. So she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's teaching lies. She's ignorant. She's a racist. She's a white supremacist. And on top of it all, whatever it was, the first thing that I had first talked about, humanity, morality, she has no morals. She has no moral compass at all. So she's taking away their souls and their spirituality, making them a bunch of order takers. And they're, you know, if they look at her as if she's the model for a person to be, they're absolutely wrong, because she has no moral script. She doesn't mind oppressing and molesting and hurting and yelling at the kids. That's a rule for her. That's a rule for Julie Chancellor, to always yell at the kids. You must, if you're going to be a teacher, you must. That's like, you know, you don't inspire the kids. You don't tell them interesting stories like the 1855 Know-Nothing riots. If they just like you, you think you'll be able to get them to do what you want to do? They just like you? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Actually, yeah, that is pretty much what I'm trying to say. So, that's absolutely right. Jean-Jacques Rousseau is right. Freedom is linked with moral significance. If you did not choose to do the thing yourself, yeah, maybe you're doing and helping somebody else, you know, but it's not obedience. I mean, if you're helping somebody else, I don't know, I just feel as though when you make the choice yourself, then you actually get to determine if it was good or bad, if it was valuable, if it was not valuable, whereas if you were doing as you're told, that question never even came up. Opposites, humanity, or morality and obedience are complete opposites. So while I'm at this orientation lecture, there's actually I have another good Christian Harris story. Okay, actually I'll say it now. Christian Harris, she was sitting there. We were talking about our experiences, and if anybody have any heartwarming experiences. And so one of the ladies, it was Kirsten, she was sitting there talking about how her teacher was a total fucking Nazi, basically fucking piece of shit. She's a dictator, autocratic, do as I say, I'm the fucking boss. Well, there's this one kid where she was just getting right in his face and sitting there yelling, right? How dare you, you're not doing your work, you know, you're always embarrassing me, how come you don't ever do what you're supposed to do? And like he was just real mad and grumpy about it and just didn't know what to do about it. And then she walked away, the teacher did, and she kind of looked at the student teacher, was like, you see, he never listens to anybody else. You see, that's how he behaves. Self-fulfilling prophecy, is that going to motivate you? If I was in your face, you know, if I was in Elizabeth Rogers or Kristen Harris's face, hey, Kristen Harris, quit being a fucking overweight, fucking dictating fascist Nazi piece of shit. Start respecting us. No, I'm not going to be compliant. No, I'm not your fucking slave. I'm a fucking man. I'm a fucking person. How are you going to deny me of my own fucking personhood? How are you going to deny me of my sovereignty? You're going to pretend that I'm just a stupid sheep? I'm a kindergarten? I'm a stupid slave? Just to, you know, I'm waiting for your orders because I don't know how to behave or act or how to talk? Give me a fucking break. 32 years old. I've been in this world a long-ass time, okay? So, I'm at this orientation lecture. Some person, they're hypocrites. They would hate it if they were getting pointed at and fucking yelled at like that. They would hate it. But because they do it to others, it's acceptable, and they don't realize that. And that's the thing. They don't, since they can't empathize with the people that they're oppressing, they can't see the bullies. They can't see when they're being bullied. Sometimes they might even side with the bullies. So I was at this orientation lecture. Some person I'd never seen before, met before, just started yelling at everybody. This is Kristen Harris. I found out later, right? So she's sitting behind me, and she's giving out orders in English, right? It makes me embarrassed that I even know English. Like, damn it, why didn't I learn Spanish? Muy no comprende, mi amiga. So like our generation of teachers, this new crop of teachers at my graduate school were just a bunch of nobody dogs. The would-be oppressor arbitrarily ordered everybody to sit on the left side of the room after we've been sitting comfortably for about 2 hours. I was already sitting on the left side of the room, so I figured the order didn't apply to me, but then the oppressor, Kristen Harris, says on top of it, since you are adults, you will follow instructions like adults, right? Because that's a quality of an adult, to be able to follow instructions like a little fucking dog, like a little slave fucking nobody that has no fucking sense, that don't do shit. That's the opposite. That's a fucking child, a person that just blindly fucking follows orders. And then these people who's going to blindly follow orders are not going to have any moral core that actually prevents them or stops them. They don't think about the actual thing, if it's good or bad, if there's ethical or morality. They're just following orders because of that's the person that's in charge. That's the person in power. I'm just doing as they're saying because that's what they want. They want little fucking slaves. They don't want independent, strong people that might actually be able to teach the fucking class better than the way they're actually teaching the fucking class. So Kristen Harris is a piece of shit. I still got a little bit more to go, but that's what her logic is. If you're an adult, you will follow instructions. But I told, you know, her what to do. She wouldn't do it. She's a fucking hypocrite. Fucking hate hypocrites. Ugh.